Alright, so this is part 2 of my discussion on the Harbingers and my speculations. This one will cover the section of the Harbingers that I call the Demi-Gods. So that's Capitano, Pulcinella, Scaramouche, Sandrone, and La Signora. You notice that I put Capitano in this group, even though we don't know that he's number 4. But and when I say we don't know he's number 4, I mean they haven't specifically said it in game. But honestly, he can't be anything but 4. Like Tartaglia said, Tartaglia, it's a Y sound, not an L sound. Tartaglia said that Capitano wouldn't associate with somebody as low ranking as him, and the only other ranking spot that we don't know besides 4 is 10, so he can't be anything but 4. Okay, so starting off, we have Capitano. He is supposed to be the noble, virtuous terror of the Fatui Harbinger. So what we know about him is very limited, actually, but what we got from Varka is that he gives off a sense of strength. And so what I'm guessing is that he's probably the strongest human, like, not the strongest living thing in the world, obviously, because we've got the gods, we've got archons and everything, but he is the strongest straight human, because obviously we don't know that he's human, but my guess is that he is the strongest human. I think he's probably stronger than Varka. Based off what we know of Varka, he tends to showboat a little bit, but I think that Capitano is stronger than Varka. From what we know from Varka's letter, I assume that Capitano is going to be the main enemy in Natlan. So from Varka's things, he was either headed, I can't remember off the top of my head, but he was either headed to, or he was in Natlan when Varka encountered Capitano. So I think that we are going to deal with him when we get to Natlan. Obviously, this won't be until 2024, but that's where I think we're going to deal with him. However, while I do think we're going to fight him to some extent in Natlan, I do not think we are going to recruit him. And if you watch my other video, it's what I mean by he's going to be playable. I don't think he's going to be recruitable or playable at the time of Natlan. So the reason for this is because, first of all, I don't think that the game will necessarily give us the 4th Fatui Harbinger before they give us the 5th. So Pulcinella is underneath Capitano, but Pulcinella is the mascot for Snezhnaya, based off of the game trailer that we got, where it showed all the regions and the one character, or 2 characters if you count Fontaine, that represent their region, Diluc, Ningguang, Ayaka, Sino, so on and so forth. Pulcinella was the character for Snezhnaya, which should mean that we will be able to recruit him to he'll be playable when we hit Snezhnaya. And I find it weird. I would find it weird if we got the 4th Harbinger, who is supposed to be stronger than before we got the 5th Harbinger. That just seems a little weird. Like, part of the reason why we got Skara before, who was number 6 before any of the others, is because a lot of his power is already gone. So I don't see us getting the really strong character before another character. Admittedly, though, they could still do it. It could be that the difference in power between Capitano and Pulcinella is actually very minor, or that the power comes in different ways, like Capitano is all strength and brute force, whereas Pulcinella is all magic and smarts. It's a distinct possibility that we could still get him, but I would put it as more like a 30% chance that we get him in Natlan, maybe 20. I do think we're going to get him in Snezhnaya. Specifically, I think that Capitano is going to be the last fight in Snezhnaya. I don't think it's going to... Last fight of the Archon quest, specifically. I don't think we're going to fight the Tsaritsa herself. Or... Well, actually, I kind of think we... No. It's really hard, because I go back and forth on this. So, I think he will be the boss before the Tsaritsa. Whatever that means. Could be a weekly boss. Could be a overworld boss. I think he will be the last big holdout before the Tsaritsa. And then we will go, after we defeat him, maybe it's a one-time event. That's the same possible. And then we will go into the Tsaritsa, and either we will fight her, or something else will happen. But I think he will be the last big stronghold before we encounter the Tsaritsa and the big... He will either be the big battle, or he will be the thing right before the big battle. That's what I think will happen with the Capitano. So, as for his weapon and his elements, I think he's a Claymore user. I flat out think he's a Claymore user. He has the appearance of a Claymore user. He is big, strong, beat the crap out of you. He's a Claymore user. He just screams Claymore. The fact that he looks like Sauron doesn't help. As for his element, so I think he's physical damage, so that would put him at either cryo or electro. I do think he's physical damage. But if he were to get an actual element that wasn't physical, if he weren't supposed to be physical, I would think he's pyro or geo. I'm going to stick with physical, so I'm going to stick him as either electro or cryo, because those are the two elements that best work with being a physical damage dealer. But, again, if he were to actually be an element, like specialize in a particular element, with the fact that he's supposed to be really powerful, like raw power, pyro or geo would also work as well. I know that seems like I'm hedging my bets, but I'm definitively saying I think he's going to be a physical user, so electro or cryo is where I'm going with him. Okay, so next one up, number 5, Pulcinella. He's interesting. So I'm questioning his motives. So Tartaglia, being simple-minded and a little goofy, thinks that he is very helpful, but Wanderer kind of disabused us of the idea that he actually is just altruistic, because he's basically saying that the reason why Pulcinella helps Tartaglia is because, hey, I've got your family in my grasp, do what I say or else. You know, like the subtle hint of danger and whatnot. So that makes me wonder, that makes me think, first of all, that he is very much a means justify the ends type of character. The question is, what is his ends? Is it all for the greater glory of Pulcinella? Or is he more of a greater glory of Snezhnaya as a whole type character? It kind of amounts to the same thing in the end, but it will affect like how we could recruit him or his storylines and whatnot. So it's more lore-based and logic-based than anything else. I do think he will be playable. So I say he's the mascot for his region, and I know that there's a lot of speculation online that he won't be playable because he has a short male model, and we don't have a short male character at all. But I point out to the people that while we do not have a short male character, we do have in-game a short male model, and that's every little boy in the game. So it's already there, you just have to tweak it. Like, take Timmy, add a long nose and a cool hat, and hey, you got Pulcinella. So I don't think that's going to be a problem. As for his element and his weapon, so it's really hard to not look at Pulcinella in the trailer for the game and not think that he is Cryo. he is the mascot of Chesnaya, and he is sitting on a throne of ice. It is really, really hard not to think that he's going to be Cryo. However, it is entirely possible that he's not going to be, because out of the 4 mascots that we know so far, only one of them has matched the element, and that's Ningguang. So, he could very much be something else. And while I am putting my hat down, or putting my hand up and saying that I think he's going to be Cryo, if there were an alternative, if there's going to be an alternative element, I think he will either be Pyro or Dendro. And the reason I have is because he is the mayor of the capital of Snezhnaya. And so my logic is that he uses whatever power he has to protect the city from the cold. So either he's making a field of warmth with Pyro, or he's just using the power of life, basically, for Dendro to just keep everything going. That's just my guess. Obviously, we don't know yet. All we know about him is that he's an elf, and from what we can see, we know of 3 other elves. One being Layla, and she's not too terribly powerful, but that might just be because of the sleep deprivation. But the other 2 are Klee and her mom Alice, and they are exceedingly powerful. So it is entirely possible that Pulcinella sustaining an entire city is well within his powers. As for his weapon, this is totally just me, but I like cane swords. I like the concept of cane swords, and he has a cane, so I think he's a swordsman, and he keeps it in the cane, and he just, pulls it out and, pokes things with it. Again, just me. I think he's a swordie purely off of personal aesthetic. That's where I'm going. Alright, number 6, Scaramouche. He's one of us now. We've recruited him, he's playable, not really that much to say. I do find it interesting that, well, okay, it's spoilers, but, what happens at the end of his quest line, the interlude quest, makes me think that we will definitely not get another Harbinger, to replace him or La Senora, which is a little disappointing, I'll admit, because I kind of wanted all 11. I wanted 11 positions. I really did. But it's okay. That's fine. They don't replace him. It's just a little whatever. It's just he's on our side now, so to speak, and he's not going to get replaced anytime soon. So he's number 6. He's left. We'll move on. Okay, so number 7, which Scara told us about, is Sandrone, the marionette, the puppeteer, basically. And with her, I am very curious. So, we don't know a lot about her lore. All we know is that she has a bad attitude. She makes robots out of rune guards, and she's strong enough to be within the Demi-God region. And this is what I call this region, the Demi-God region, because at the very bottom end you have La Senora, who was basically an immortal demon of fire. And then in the middle you have a robot, a puppet, created by the Electro Archon and imbued with the powers of divinity. Then you have an elf creature, who is possibly old as hell. And then you've got, because they age slowly, apparently. Elf creatures age slowly, and he's, old looking, so he's probably old. And then you've got Capitano, who is basically, from what I can guess, Hercules. That's where but again, that's speculation. So, it does make you wonder, what the hell kind of power does Sandron have to be within this category, admittedly at the lower end of the category, but still in a position above the literal fire demigoddess of La Senora. And my basic question is it her own power? Is she herself powerful? Or is it a combination of her power or intelligence plus her army of robots? Is that so? Which one is it that makes her powerful? Her individual abilities or her robot army? I'm very curious as to figure out which one. There's really not much more to say about her. In regards to her element and weapon, I think she's going to be Electro, purely based off the idea that she uses Electro to power her robots. Obviously, could be totally wrong. They could have their own independent power sources, but I think Electro makes sense as she's the mechanic. She needs an energy source to power the construct she makes, so Electro makes the most sense. I also think she's going to be a bow user. I don't see her as an on-fieldy type. I do see her as somebody who sits back and controls things, so I do see her as shooting. And also, I wonder how her gameplay will work. Like, assuming she is playable, how will she work? Will we play her, or will we play a robot? Like, when we switch out to her, will it be the robot that we're controlling, or will it be her that we're controlling? And to that end, if it's the robot we're controlling, where is she going to be? I'm guessing she's going to be, like, sitting on its shoulder or something. Or maybe she's inside of it and she's, like, piloting it like a mech. And if it's the robot, will it do all the attacking, basically, is my question. Or if it's her, will she summon or direct a robot? And if she does direct a robot, will the robot come out of nowhere, or will it always be following her? She offers a lot of mystery in response to gameplay. Like, Colombina has a lot of lore mystery that I'm very interested in, but Sandrone has a lot of gameplay mystery, because we don't have a character that has a constant... she seems like a character who would have a constant summon, and we don't have anyone who has a constant summon. We have people who have summons that last for a long time, or short time in some cases, but she seems like one who would have a constant summon, a constant companion to attack for her. And so it would be very interesting to see how it all works out with her. Okay, so the last one in the Demigod department is number 8, La Senora, and there's really not much to say about her. She's dead. There is some speculation online that she will resurrect herself, which honestly I think might just be a little bit of copium. Like, oh, we want La Senora, she's gonna resurrect herself, she's a phoenix. And, it's not terrible. It's not complete without reason. What I think is going to happen in regards to that, or what I think, if she were able to resurrect herself, I think that is the reason why the Tsaritsa covered her tomb in ice, to quench her burning spirit and actually let her rest. That is my guess. If she were to resurrect herself, it is going to be, if she had the ability to resurrect herself, the Tsaritsa is stopping her from doing it. Now, this is assuming that she could resurrect herself. I don't quite subscribe to that. As a matter of fact, I would personally prefer it if MiHoYo just replaced her character with a different one. Instead of La Signora, we have Il Signore, or something like that. Again, kind of like with the Doctor. I'll happily write the character. I know exactly what I'd do with it. Just give me a shout out. It'll never happen. But you might as well shoot your shant. Okay. So that's the end of this video. That's the end of the Demi-Gods section. If you agree or disagree with my thoughts, my speculation, please comment down below. And if you found this at all interesting, please like and subscribe. So have a good rest of your day. Bye.